Okay. Alright, so, thank you all for coming. This is day 21 of being stranded.
It's fresh off the press.
It is.
It's missing an O. Soprano. Out. Soprano. Alt. I like being
So all of these pieces are measured to be the same difficulty. They're all on the UIL Texas PML, grade 3. So,
I'm only grade 2, so it's gonna work out. We're gonna see.
Oh, there's 3 songs.
3 songs, yes.
Oh,
Have any of you sang any of these before?
It's old
No. No,
I love it too.
No?
I'm not sure. I don't know what there's on this,
Let's start off with the If You Love Me.
I didn't know it.
It's the Ogden Say Is Not Too Dangerous.
Oh, it's not.
Oh.
No, that's 2 songs.
Oh,
I got you, Adrian.
thanks. Appreciate that.
So,
Which one are we starting?
If You Love Me. Let's do just a little warm up. Just nice and easy. We'll just do the hum. Let's try. I love to sing. 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 Next we are going to do starting with the If You Love Me, we are in E major. Okay. Go ahead and start on either a neutral syllable or solfege, fixed or movable, whatever you would like. Okay? It's written in 4/4, but we are really doing it in cut time. Okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's start right there. So,
Where's that time?
let's try this one more time. Let's try it on do, the neutral syllable do. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Sorry, establish the key.
It's alto. Okay. And 2, and. Okay, let's start right there. Caitlin, so you're coming on the end of beat 1 with that. So you hear. Okay, let me hear just soprano alto, starting on Jenny, your pickup to measure 6. 2 and 1. Okay, so, let me start with soprano. Jenny, right on the, and he shall give you. 2 and 1. Right, so it's very syncopated right there. Give you another comfort. Okay? Try that one more time. 6, 5, 2 and 1.
Sorry.
Okay? Try it on words. 2 and 1. Sorry, that's okay, alto. Caitlin, measure 7 right on your entrance.
Do you want words or filling?
Words for now. 2 and 1. Crescendo for both you and Jenny into comforter.
Can I mark on this or not?
Yeah. It is from the website CPDL or Public Domain Library. free to make markings. Okay, tenor bass, let me hear you right at the beginning. One and two and. Okay, so right there, tenor, it is. Okay, let me hear you both try that one more time. Try it on word. One and two. Okay, and we'll stop after that phrase. So right there, tenor. We've got it. Sorry, it is. Let me hear just you, Adrian, on and he. One and two. Right, we're going to crescendo into come. Comforter. Okay. Jared, starting around, and I will pray the Father. Two and one and. Okay. So, crescendo another, and then arrive on comforter, and then everybody decrescendo once you arrive in measure 13. Okay. Next, the tied note in measure 2 going into measure 3, please crescendo that. The height of the phrase, or the loudest point of the phrase, is man of commandments. Keep my commandments. On the and I will that you all have, I would like you to crescendo, and on pray, that be the loudest part of the phrase. And I will pray the Father. Okay? I want to hear more G on the word give. He shall give. Now let's try it all together from the beginning. One and two. Let's try one more time.
It's the doing it in two.
Yeah.
You want me to conduct it in 4?
Just to learn it.
Sure.
Like, just to learn it, please.
Sure. Okay. 3, 4. C sharp is wrong. It doesn't agree between alto and bass. Bum, 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 bum. 3, 4. Better. Jared, going from the C sharp to the F sharp, be sure of that interval. In terms of solfege, la la la, re, do, ti, la. Caitlin.
Yeah.
Pray the Father, and he shall hear. Getting up to the E is wrong.
What was wrong?
A to E. He shall give. Adrian, can I have you sing louder, please?
Okay.
Let's have you start on the and I will pray the Father.
Who?
Everyone.
Alright.
Alright, starting on that G sharp, we're going to E major. Four, one. Jared. He does it. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give bread all
Grace, I can't get the brain.
Okay, let's practice it. Let's do it twice. 1, 2. Okay, by yourself. 1, 2. Good, that's correct. The same spot, everybody, starting on the and I will. 4, 1. Came in one beat early.
Okay.
4, 1. That's right. Jared, you sang a G sharp instead of an F sharp.
Yeah.
That's your problem on pray. Okay? Let's try the whole thing a cappella, up to all that we've done. Okay? And that'll be the end of this piece. There are sturdy notes. We can slow it down just a little bit for you. 3, 4. Okay, so I want to ask you really quick, your feedback on that. So, I was very dry and very blunt on it. This C sharp is wrong, you're singing a G sharp instead of an F sharp. How does that make you feel rehearsing and learning music?
I'm your girlfriend and I kind of hate you.
Okay.
Just
Um,
like,
There's some instances where that's fine, but like, for instance, if people don't know that they're doing something wrong, and you say that, it's very attacking. Like, I knew I was saying that wrong, and I still don't have it right. So
Right.
That's different than just, that's wrong.
it's not beneficial, like, it shuts you down, and it was like, okay, well, you're telling me I'm seeing it wrong, but it makes you feel like, well, can you help me learn it right? Because you're just like, oh, this is wrong, and it's shutting, like, I don't know, it doesn't work.
I think that if
Maybe
we,
not encouraged.
Yeah.
what was it?
They may be not encouraged to like.
Yeah, I think if we were to maybe have done it on Soulfish a few more times, it would have been a little bit more in our ear, and then we could have done it in, like, on the words a little bit more confidently.
Right.
And we wouldn't have had to, like, take the notes and sing it as, as often.
Right. Okay. So I'll tell you the differences after, what I'm going for in the actual rehearsal technique. Instead of like emotional feelings, I want to talk a little bit about efficiency, now. Did you feel like it was efficient for me to say, Adrian, sing louder, Caitlin, you're coming in one beat early, or would you find it more efficient for me to just model the correct thing?
I think it depends on what it is, because like, for that, like the beat, like yes, I knew that I was a beat early, but you telling me that confirmed it. But for a different instance, like when you said our C sharps on the first measure weren't aligning, that would, to me, that's better. You say like this note within these parts being efficient, and just saying that is better than you modeling it at first. And like earlier, I think it's better to just say it, because we're still learning it. It's like, okay, I know that note needs to be in line with so and so. But I think modeling is good for some instances, for like more like dynamics and like stressing and things like that. But for note accuracy and rhythm accuracy, I think it's better to be efficient.
Okay.
My opinion on it is like, at the beginning, it's better to like model, be like, okay, this is how it sounds like, and once we've learned it and we still messed up, that's a different story. That's when you're like, okay, this is wrong. Like, fix it, fix it type of thing,
Okay. Alright, so, please turn to O Domine Jesu Christe. So this one is in A minor. Okay. Let me hear you on solfege. You can do law bass minor on this one, which happens to be fixed do. Okay. I'll conduct it in 4 to start you off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start that again.
I don't want to
I'm
do
sorry,
fixed
I like lost a key there.
Oh, you're good.
Can we just do it on? I can't do.
If solfege doesn't help you, you can do a neutral syllable.
Okay, I was like, can I just do syllable,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Should we slow it down?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, this one feels like you're kind of creeping into it, right? So start off and kind of feel that reverent, distant sound that the Renaissance might have had, okay? As you are going through it, slow down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4.
I'm sorry, I'm like lost. And I don't know if it's because we haven't established the key, but like you just telling me A minor and just playing the notes is not doing it for me, I'm sorry. Can I sing it in A minor on solfege? Can I do A minor solfege? Okay. I'm sorry, I was just struggling with it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll stop right there. So, Caitlin, we have.
Did you say it's an A minor?
Mm-hmm.
Then don't I start on so if I'm on E?
Yeah.
I thought you said la, okay.
Oops.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so just take note that there's an F sharp first on me, and then an F natural on free. Okay? And then we're going to swell and sing that line up unto yet of Yesu. Then we're going to back off as we approach ste, Christe. Okay? So, may I please hear soprano alto? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. How did that feel?
That's good.
It's better. Okay, one more time, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good, very good. Bass and tenor, may I please hear you right in that first phrase? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more time, please, gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, 4. May I please hear you do a cappella, that first phrase, and kind of really tune in and listen to each other, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful, beautiful. second phrase. Let's have it go on a solfege. One, two. Okay, let's stop right there. May I please have bass and tenor? One, two. Very good, very good. Right, on that last note, you really want to become one with each other. Really listen for that unison. And then for this song, you've kind of got the bottom two parts providing this wall of sound, and then the top two parts just kind of like icing on the cake, just sitting on top, being really beautiful, jolly foundation, so really sing into it. Okay? One more time, tenor and bass, please. Right at the oboe. One, two. Very nice, very nice. Yes, I'll take this. One, two. One more time, please. One, two. Right, as you get to that te in cruce, you're like a bird taking off, right? You're just soaring above. Make sure that that B is just as high as it needs to be, okay? So may I hear everybody on that second phrase, please? One, two. Okay, one more time, please, just so y'all can get used to it. Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, may I please have you all sing both of those phrases on words? Okay, just to see how we do. Two, three. Okay, so yeah, so that's what we're gonna do with that. So I want to get your feedback again because we got through the same amount of music, probably close to twice as fast. So I wanted your feedback on this one.
I think the way that you taught us the second phrase was a lot easier to learn than the first phrase. Because for the first one, you just played the key and was like, okay, let's do solfege. And we had really no clue what we were saying. But on the second phrase, you had us break it down into parts and you played with us. Now, I don't now I'm not saying constantly play, but like first time reading. Yeah, like first time reading, it's super helpful to have a piano there. That way, okay, we know what it sounds like, we know what the right notes are.
I think something for the first phrase, if we got maybe a little bit more in our ear first, just like if we could hear the first few chords, it maybe would have helped us get it in our ear a little bit better. Just so that we kind of know what we're getting into instead of just going at it, super cold feet. I know that helps me more, just to kind of have a little bit of that assistance, so that we could have maybe gone into the first phrase a little bit more confidently.
What helped me was your analogies, like when you said the basses and the tenors were like a wall, or like the icing on top, and on the higher notes when you said to fly, like it made me really get into the music.
Yeah, going back to what Adrian said, I had such a hard time learning the first phrase because you just play the first chord. I know that some choirs do that, and that's an approach that works sometimes, but I think going from E major to A minor, and you told us to sight read it on La bass minor, which isn't something that I have done in a long time, so then I was like, oh crap, and then it was just not in my ear, and then it felt like when you did play each chord, but it kind of felt like you were put out doing it for me, so I felt discouraged. But then the second phrase felt better with your analogies, and you were more, I guess, emotionally sensitive to the music, so it felt more easy to sing it also, but it did help that you broke it apart, so this is definitely better.
Why did it seem like I was emotionally sensitive to music at all?
No, the second phrase, it felt like you were more than the first phrase, just because you connected the text with the bird thing, and you, like Jane was saying, you gave the alliteration, the imagery of the guys being a wall of sound and the icing on top of the girls. It felt like it was more connective to something we can think of versus just notes on a page.
Yeah, I think that it kind of made the text or what we were reading more musical, so we sang more musical. I think that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, I don't actually know that I want to do this third piece. I think we're gonna drop that part. So I'll tell you what this was about. So, my project is to shed light on how much we use metaphor, either linguistically or physically, in learning and teaching music. And there's not a whole lot of research on it, except that it exists, and maybe why we use it. There's not really a lot of research in pedagogy, in voice pedagogy, why we use it. Though I think that it would kind of be impossible to be like, okay, so Jared, you are a freshman voice student, you've never had voice lessons in your life, but you're a naturally talented singer. You're coming in. What I want you to achieve is a supraglottal volume let me say that again. What I want you to achieve is a ratio of 6 to 1 in pharyngeal space to how much you lower your larynx.
I still don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Or if I go, Adrian, please manipulate the shape of your vocal mechanism so that your overtones are strongest between 2700 and 3500 hertz.
Not a scientist, but.
Right, so how do we translate this scientific, like, idea, because that's what we do, that's how we project to an orchestra, is we do it when we, get vibrato, we are, equalizing subglottal to glottal pressure, right, the airflow against your vocal folds, and then when we get that singer's ring that can penetrate over an orchestra, we are manipulating our overtone series to be strongest at 2700 to 3500 hertz, which is just above the strongest overtones that the flutes and violins play, so we can be heard over an orchestra.
Wow. Nice.
But anyways, it's really impossible to teach people to do these scientific things when what we're doing isn't scientific, it's the humanities, right? It's art. And like you said, these are just notes on a page. This doesn't mean anything. We have to translate this into song. And not only do we have to translate it into notes and rhythms, we have to make it aurally pleasant, right? And it needs to be pleasing to sing for us, and pleasing to listen to for the audience. How do we make a pleasing sound? We work on technique, right? We work on our musicality. So, I am doing a project that is shedding light on the usage of metaphor to teach these scientific concepts, right? So, we talked about how my analogies really help bring light to the music. Instead of saying, I need you to crescendo beat 1 to beat 3, and saying, you sing a G sharp instead of an F sharp. I used metaphor, I used analogies, and that really sped the process up. So when you think about it, it's kind of paramount that we use metaphor, because how else are we supposed to learn these things? I mean, back in 1900, we didn't really know any voice pedagogy. It was just learn how to sing by rote. Go ahead.
I think that the connection that we kind of felt to the music when we made the metaphors is kind of like, the reason why is probably because it was more like a sensory thing, like we're using our senses, like whatever we're looking at, we're kind of expressing with our voice, but also we're like imagining in our minds, like it's becoming a little bit more, not humanized, but it's like becoming a little bit more in tune to us, because we're so visual, we try to express, the best way that we can as well, and I think it just kind of like adhered to our senses, and so that's kind of how we made a little bit more of a connection to the music.
Yeah.
I think also it's important to note that, like, anatomically, you can't just become aware of a part of your body that you are not consciously controlling or aware of without seeing or being able to visualize it. And so, like, that's the difference between what we learn in school, being able to sing the way we do, versus the way, like, someone just trying to feel it out themselves. Eventually they'll get to some point, but you can't learn to consciously control an unconscious movement without being able to see it in some way. And so using metaphor gives a way for us to visualize it without actually, like, physically seeing and watching you sing.
Without being like, okay, lower my larynx, okay, I don't know how to do that. You use a metaphor that helps you do it.
Well, it's
Like,
facing your
okay.
face.
Contract your sternohyoid.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you use a way to get them to achieve it, and then it's like, okay, that's what it feels like whenever you crescendo, or like,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like when you're supported. Okay, so now whenever I say support, that's what you need to think about.
Right. Even the terms we use for support. Appoggio, to lean. Lean on the breath. Lean on the voice. I mean, that's a metaphor. Some Italian guy didn't know what he was doing, but he did it good. Did it well, sorry. And then just made up some term that he thought would work. Head voice. You're not singing out of your head, you're singing out of your neck. Even though you might feel a sensation of up here in the front of your skull. Chest voice. You're not singing out of your chest. You never will, right? It comes from here, no matter what sensations you feel. These are just metaphors we use to teach singing. We have science and technology to teach it, But where scientific language and being exact fails, metaphor bridges that gap. So that's just what I wanted to show you guys. I didn't want to tell you about it because then you'd be like, oh, he's gonna act like a jerk and be really stiff and tell me that I'm wrong, and then get excited. Oh yeah, we're gonna fly with these. Not to. I did that bad. No, but like obviously you get more excited for the part that's gonna work more, right? And it was just a hypothesis, but y'all learned about the same amount of music in about half the time. Now I changed up my rehearsal style for each like quarter of it that we did. So we start out with If You Love Me, and I let you do solfege, which solfege in itself is kind of a metaphoric way to your intervals and to teach the major scale in intervals to students. So I let y'all do that, but then after that I was like, no, switch to words. Okay, sing an F sharp. Okay, come in on beat 2. Okay, sing louder. The things that are exact, and they're not really scientific language, but it's not a metaphor, right? It's just an exact thing that I want you to do. Or I could say, you've really got to feel that offbeat. You really got to feel the pulse, so you can feel the rhythm, right? How do you feel a rhythm? Is it legato? I mean, legato is even a metaphor. Smooth. Sing it smoothly. Well, you have to have touched something smooth to understand that, right? So we use metaphor kind of in everything that we do in learning and teaching music. So go spread the gospel of metaphor. This is going to look really bad, right? But I'm going to give a presentation, and Dr. Keniston is